Hey, do you know you're doing captions wrong?
Wrong for who?
You're not supposed to do that highlight word thingy because
Because you saw a post about how word highlights, also known as karaoke style captions, can be less accessible for certain disabilities.
if you already know, why do you do it?
The big picture reason I'll get to in a bit, but let's address your specific concerns first. So, do you understand how different disabilities have different access needs, and how some accessibility features for certain disabilities may actually make something less accessible or even inaccessible for certain other disabilities?
That's the point. Captions should be standardized to be most accessible for all.
Even if that standardization makes the content inaccessible for those other disabilities?
What? No.
So I've gotten literal thousands of comments from people thanking me for these captions. I spent a lot of time and effort refining my captions for my audience, an audience with a high percentage of audio processing disorders and dyslexia and attention and focus issues.
Oh, but I thought that kind of karaoke captions can be distracting. And you put the captions here in the middle instead of at the bottom. You're breaking all the rules.
No, you're absolutely right, and I'm breaking them by listening to my audience. At first, my captions didn't have enough contrast for low vision people, so I boosted contrast. Then I found my karaoke highlights were too contrasty and distracting, so I refined the settings so that the highlighted area was subtle enough that it was the least distracting as possible, but still noticeable enough so that it helped those people follow along who needed it. And in this process, I've partnered with my community and with other advocates, including the deaf and low vision spaces, to refine my approach to be as accessible as possible for my audience, knowing that 100% accessibility is not possible the way these apps are at this point in time.
So why are your captions in the middle? I hear that's not preferred either.
I found if I put my open captions in the video and the app puts the auto captions in the same area, none of the captions are readable.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
So frustrating, right? So I've deliberately placed my captions where they are so that both the face in the video can be seen, while the auto captions can also be read. This way, people can read whichever set of captions are more accessible to them.
Why not just use the app's captions?
Honestly, because they're inaccessible to me as a creator, and they don't have adequate customization features. The user interface for editing and correcting the auto captions is so poorly designed on all the platforms. Plus, these apps don't make it easy to add my own closed caption file and upload it alongside my video. It is sometimes possible, but it takes a lot of extra work. So I use Descript, which is an app, and I use it to burn in open captions, which means that the captions are actually burnt into the video and not overlaid. And this is the real point I want to make. You're complaining to creators for something that's the platform's responsibility to make accessible.
So I shouldn't let somebody know when I find their captions distracting or inaccessible?
Oh, no. Absolutely give kind and constructive feedback. Without that, I would not have refined my captions to how they are. But I would encourage this. Every time you comment on a creator's captions, also give feedback to the app. If every comment that disabled creators got complaining about their accessibility was instead sent to the platforms, demanding that the platforms be made accessible, there would be so many comments that these apps would have to take their UI accessibility seriously.
Okay, so what would that look like? What should we be asking these platforms for?
Customization. And this goes for every platform that uses video, including streamers. Users should be able to customize caption size, color, contrast, placement, font, including Bionic font, capitalization preferences, transparency, background on and off, background transparency, background color, karaoke on off, karaoke color, karaoke transparency, etc., so that captions are actually accessible for everyone's needs. I mean, personally, I love a setting where if I have the sound on, captions are off. And when I have the sound off, captions automatically appear. And it's real easy to turn captions on and off if you want to turn them on. But that's probably asking too much, right?
Wow, if I could have my preferred caption settings on all my content, that would be Literally life-changing, like especially if Bionic font was an option.
Right? So we need to direct our feedback from criticizing creators, especially those who are trying and doing the extra hours of work to add captions, and refocus our collective voices on these multi-billion-dollar platforms. They bear the onus of creating accessible user interfaces for all of us.
Yeah, I'm gonna go send this video to them.